Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Okay.
Hey everybody! Welcome to the season premiere of Tell Me About Your Damn Book. It is season 2, and you may notice that we've got some new things going on. We've got a brand new set here. We finally have some branding behind me, which people have been telling me to do for a very long time. There it is, people. Are you happy? We've got some uplighting going on over here. I see why DJs really enjoy the uplighting, because it's a really good effect. And the other great thing that we finally have an author appearing on the show who's using her writing for good instead of evil. And that's really something that we've been looking for a long time on Tell Me About Your Damn Book. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Sarah Taylor. Sarah,
hi.
Welcome to
Thank
Tell Me
you
About
for
Your Damn
having
Book.
me.
So happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, you have been writing for 10 years, is that right?
Yes.
My goodness, wow.
Yeah.
You poor thing.
Yeah,
You
I know,
poor
that's
thing.
true.
And you joined the Army. You joined the military after high school.
Yes.
Were you an Army brat? Was this
No,
really?
it was just kind of a whirlwind, just sort of very spontaneous thing.
Really?
Yes.
Spontaneously joined the military.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That I haven't heard of that one, but okay.
Yep.
All right. What was the impetus? What was the moment that you decided to do that?
So I actually, I was in high school my senior year, and a girlfriend of mine was talking about meeting a recruiter for the
Okay.
Army, and I was like, "You're not doing that. You are not joining the Army." And I was like, "In fact, I'm coming with you to meet with the recruiter just to not let you do it."
Okay, so you were there to stop your friend
I was
from
there
joining.
to
Okay.
stop my friend from joining.
Okay.
And when we met with the recruiter, it was me that was the one that wanted to join, not her anymore. I don't ask how that happened, but I didn't know enough about it. I didn't know what it was really like until they explained it to me, and I was like, you know what, this actually would be for me.
Huh.
So I was just young. I didn't really know what I wanted to do after high school, and I just was like, you know what, it gives you college money, it gives you experience.
Sure.
So I thought it was, something to do in between college and high school. So
Wow.
yeah.
Why the Army? Why not the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force?
That's a good question. Probably because my friend was meeting with an Army recruiter.
Okay.
So that's who my first experience with the military was, and it was just sort of what I was, introduced to. So I was just going from there.
Okay. All right. So she defaulted to the Army because it was an Army recruiter.
That's true. That's the one who got me first.
It all worked out, so that's the important thing.
It did.
So now you were deployed.
Yes.
Where were you deployed?
I was deployed in Bosnia,
Really?
and then again I was deployed in Iraq.
Okay.
Yep. So I was in Bosnia from 1999 to 2000, and then I was in Iraq from 2003 to 2004.
Wow. Okay. Positive experience?
Yeah, I mean, Bosnia was it was a peacekeeping mission, so it was a really positive, experience to see people who are taking back their lives in the community. Iraq was not the same. It was, quite a different experience.
I'm
than
sure.
Bosnia. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So,
Yeah. Now, while you were deployed, you started writing children's books.
I did. So I kind of got the idea right before we were going to Iraq. I was like, gosh, there's going to be so much time when you're just kind of like sitting there in a tent. There's no anything to do. What am I going to do to keep myself busy? And I had always thought about being a writer, and I just kind of didn't know how to pursue it. And I was reading an article about they need more children's books. So I was like, all right, that's for me. That's something I could do to, keep myself busy during the time when we're just not doing anything.
Okay.
So that's how I got and that's what I did.
Wow.
So
were your fellow soldiers supportive of this? Did they know that you were doing this?
I don't really think anybody knew I was doing this.
Ah.
Yeah, it's hard to start. How many pages? How many? It's really kind of. It takes a while to kind of get into it.
Sure.
I mean, I was already in my 20s, so it'd been years since I'd even read a children's book on my own. So it was, it wasn't something I really shared with anybody right away because I didn't know what I was doing yet.
Okay.
So,
okay, that
yeah,
makes
it
sense.
just kind of looked like I was writing a letter home.
Right.
Yeah, just
okay.
sitting
All right.
there.
Sure. The letter home. Sure. That makes sense. Now, you write stories about families experiencing PTSD, stories about soldiers talking to school children about their missions overseas. How do you write those in, because PTSD is obviously a very serious thing, and so is being deployed.
Right.
How do you write about those things without scaring the
Right,
children?
so that's exactly what I didn't want to do, was scare anybody, and I just kind of touched very loosely on it.
Okay.
Because I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, so I can't give, very specific details. I kind of just, it's kind of a guide to kind of help, kids maybe understanding what their parents are gonna go through. And what happens is when everyone comes home, you're first so excited and everyone goes through it and you just want to be with your family. It's all you thought about the whole time. You catch up on the things you didn't get to do and you really appreciate the life that you didn't have for a little while. But then after a few months, the novelty of you wears off and, friends are just kind of used to you being home and you kind of go back into this depression of like wanting to go back there and wanting to be in that comfort zone again of what you just experienced. And it can affect family and friends. It's like, well, why aren't they excited anymore? Why aren't they, why do they not want to be with us anymore? Why do they want to go back to where they just were? So it's just kind of a natural thing that happens, and it's not that the family or kids or anyone did anything wrong. It's just what, soldiers very often go through. So it was good to help family understand, like, they aren't doing anything wrong, that this is just, a stage of coming home. And the best thing to do is kind of maybe look into some help for their soldier or family member if they need it, and just understand that they just need your support and it's not you, and time will help heal.
Right.
So, and just I loosely touch on it because it's it's geared towards kids to understand that.
Sure.
So my characters relate to hopefully something they're relating to.
Gotcha. Okay. Were there books like the ones that you've written? Did they exist before you started writing them?
I couldn't find any.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were filling a need. You found a hole and you filled it.
Right. And of course there are a lot today since it's, because I started very early on. I was one of the first people that deployed over, after 9/11. I was one of the first people, groups that deployed over there. So when I came home from Iraq, I was done with the military and I got into the family readiness program. So it's like a support group for soldiers and families.
Okay.
And that's when I was thinking, let me write something about what children might be experiencing. And that's how I came up with the idea. And at the time I couldn't find anything because I looked to buy some for the family members, but there was nothing. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, is there a way, because I feel like the military and politics are sort of, they're intertwined. Is there, do you keep it apolitical? Is there a way to keep it apolitical?
I didn't really get too political with what, I would have to say, like, in my experience, maybe at my level, it wasn't about getting too political. Just kind of, we stayed with our chain of command and what we were supposed to do, and this is, what we signed up for. So it wasn't, I would say maybe towards the end it kind of got political, where my unit had to, we actually were extended twice.
Okay.
So then it got a little bit more political, I would say, about why our unit's here, and families started writing to Congress. And,
right, but, there's that, sure.
But it was just kind of like, you sign up and this is what you're called to do, and you support your commander-in-chief, and I was just very supportive of what my country needed from me.
Nice. Was it fun to write these books, or was it difficult for you?
I thought it was actually, I really had fun with it because it's something I can relate to and the people around me could relate to. So I had a lot of fun with it. I love writing. I love writing from my heart and what feels right and what I can relate to. So I had a great time doing it.
Wow, she loves writing. That's wow. I wish I loved writing. Now I have my notes here, and this says something about camouflage fabulous.
Yes.
What's camouflage fabulous?
So that was actually my first novel that I wrote about, and it was very loosely based on my experience, but I felt that there wasn't a lot of inventory out there about military books that kind of had the woman, as the starring role.
Okay.
A lot of military books, but they weren't really from a woman's point of view, or you see all these movies, Jarhead and everything like that, but none of them were really centered on the woman. So I'm like, and there's so many women in the military. It's a different world today. Now we allow women in the infantry, and they're it's more of a normal thing than it was probably years ago.
Sure.
So I wanted women who were joining the military or women in the military to have that novel to pick up and kind of have a soldier that they relate to. And again, still, even especially where I was a military police officer, there was very few women.
You were a military police officer.
Yes.
I forgot to ask what you were even doing over there.
Yeah, so there was just I was very limited on the women that I was while overseas. So it was kind of me and this man's world for a long time. So it was just wouldn't it have been nice to have a novel or something you can read during pastime is like an escape for women when the starring role is about another woman joining the military, and her experience is kind of being a loner, the minority in a big man's world.
Right.
So,
right.
And I just kind of wanted to touch on some of the issues that they deal with. So it's a little bit of a mix of a fun book about, just a woman being in the military and how she got there, but, there's other things that she's had to deal with that I think a lot of women in the military can relate to.
The other thing that's glorious about you is that you volunteer, you work with homeless children, foster children, and the family readiness group. How do you find time? How do you find time to write? You're also a mom.
Yeah.
You're volunteering. How do you do it?
You know what? I just kind of do one thing at a time. And now that I do have a child, I find having the time to do all this a little bit less. But I kind of just do what I can. So, for example, coming up on November 10th, I'll do this Soldier's Walk where we walk and we walk the whole marathon route, the 26.2 miles. And what we'll do is all the money that we receive from there for donations and everything, we give to a retreat in Colorado that is specifically for soldiers and families suffering from PTSD.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Wow.
And every, a little bit of my book sales, a portion will go to that.
Yes, I have that in my notes. 10% of all your book sales to homeless veteran programs.
Right, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, so it was just kind of, I've had, being in the military, I've seen a lot of people suffer. Suicide is huge.
Sure.
So, we kind of walk to, represent that this is something that happens. A lot of soldiers, the statistics have slightly changed, but, there's a high amount of veterans that take their own lives every day. So if we could do something to prevent that, like the retreat in Colorado, and just make an awareness that these people do suffer silently. Even though they might come home and seem okay.
Sure.
So I've lost friends on the way due to suicide. I've had people, go to drugs and alcohol and to deal with their pain of being at war. So it's just something that inspired me. Not only do I love to write and write about this military experience, I want to, give back to my community of people that, I deployed with and that need the help. So that really inspired it.
This woman, ladies and gentlemen. we have to step away for a moment. We will be right back with Sarah Taylor. Welcome back to Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I am here with Sarah Taylor, and I can't help but notice that something has materialized between us. Something, Sarah, has come between us. I guess this is probably the cue for the phrase that pays. So, Sarah Taylor, tell me about your damn book.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say that. So my next book, Book Wars, is a really fun book. It doesn't really relate on any big military issues.
Okay.
Not in this series, but in the next few series we might touch more on that.
Okay.
This one is really just about being both children in the cover are military brats, and their parents are in the military full time. So we'll get to that again in another series. But this one is just kind of about everyday life at school. I just wanted something that I thought, there's so many books about magic and sci-fi for kids now, and I wanted to write something that maybe just everyday life that they could relate to.
Okay.
So this one is about the new girl, the girl, the kind of the cool girl, popular girl at school.
Sure.
Is here, Molly, on the front cover, and she's, the winner of everything, the teacher's pet, the go-to, everyone likes her, she's kind of just the winner at everything, just one of those kids.
Yeah, I hate those
and
kids.
that everyone hates, but they're all friends with them anyways,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
teachers love them anyways.
Yeah.
So she's that girl, her parents, are officers in the military. Everything kind of stops when this new kid, Jameson, also featured on the cover, is like kind of coming in, and he's this new cool kid and teaching the other kids how to skateboard, and even the nerdier kids he's really nice to, and just the teachers love him. So she's kind of met her match, and she's like, oh no, what now?
Right.
I've always been this highlight of the school, and now here's this kid, what do I do? And she's trying to tell her friends, like, you don't really want to be friends or hang out with him, and they're like, actually we do. So it's just kind of cute. So what happens is he now there's a book competition of who can read the most books, which Molly wins every single year, and Jameson signs up to compete, and she's really scared he's going to win, so she kind of goes to war and sabotages the books that he's supposed to read, and he retaliates. I don't want to give away the ending, but it's just kind of, so it's just kind of fun. I think, it's based for kids between 8 and 12, middle school ages, and I think that every kid could kind of relate to it. At some point you're kind of high up there, and then sometimes you fall back, and a little bit about bullying, a little bit about, where do you find yourself? Who are you? You were this person today, and now you're not that person anymore. So it just touches a little bit about everyday life at school and what kids are going through. So I just thought it was a really fun read, and I'm actually working on the next one, and I hope to have a few series of them to come out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
this one is currently available.
It's currently available, yes.
And any thoughts on when the next one might be?
Probably early 2019.
2019.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. So Book Wars, people.
Yeah.
Get your hands on Book Wars. Season 1, we had a segment on the show called Questions from the Great Unwashed.
Okay.
And that's where we would solicit questions from social media. We would have people ask questions to ask the authors, and it was a very mixed bag. It got very weird very fast.
Okay,
so,
I'm sure.
So we have eliminated that for season 2.
Okay.
And we have replaced it with a segment called The 5. So it's 5 standard questions that we're going to be asking every author who comes on the show. And I have them all set, and if you're ready, we'll do the 5.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Question 1. If they published an author's yearbook today and you were in it, what would you be voted most likely to do?
Hopefully succeed. Doesn't everybody want that one, though?
Come
right?
on. Succeed. That's what everyone's going to say.
I know, right? Maybe, oh gosh, that's one I'd have to think about.
Do you want to pass on that and come back to it?
Yeah, we'll pass on that one.
All right,
I'll stick with my succeed.
All right, you can stick with your
I'm the first
succeed.
one of the
That's
season,
fair.
so no one stole
That's
that from
true.
me.
That's very true. That's the advantage of being the first author in season 2. You can say whatever you want and you're not repeating anyone.
That's
Fair enough. Okay. Question 2. Which 4 faces would appear on your author's Mount Rushmore?
Oh gosh. Obviously, I'd have to say J.K. Rowling.
Sure.
Because she's really turned
JK.
literacy brought literacy and made such a movement and impact with her books.
Sure.
But I think she's, even if and I like magic and I've read her books and, it's not something I write about, but I think that, she's definitely made such a movement with
Sure.
writing, and
Absolutely.
I really commend her on that.
I agree.
Especially coming from, she didn't really come from very much.
True.
So it was just kind of an idea that really turned out to be something fantastic. So I would have to say, what kind of inspired Book Wars was the author of A Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Okay.
And I've been to his bookstores and everything, and he's great. But he kind of is what I'm doing, and that kind of inspired me a little bit. His books are huge, every kid was reading them, which is such an impact to be able to get our kids to want to read.
Sure.
Especially at these young ages. And he just also kind of had, he kind of writes about everyday life in school. So, what kids are going through, not everything is, it's just kind of, I think, something every kid can identify with. And that is what inspired me.
Okay.
Everyday life of what we all go through. You have the great days and the bad days and the
Sure.
awkwardness in between. So I would definitely have to put him up there.
Okay. That's 2.
Yep. So, and then us, we're authors,
And us.
right?
Okay. Nice. Okay. So J.K. Rowling, the author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and us.
Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that. I want to be in the Lincoln spot. If I have my druthers, I would like to be in the Lincoln spot. Question 3. What's something about you that, if revealed, would surprise and amaze those who know you best?
I think people often say, oh, you don't look like somebody that was in the military. And we don't come with, a certain look. It's just anyone can join, and they don't think I looked like somebody that kind of fit that role. But, I did, and I think that kind of amazes people that not only was I in the military, but that I deployed, overseas twice in a war-torn territory.
Sure,
So,
yeah. Because you are quite glamorous.
Oh,
so
thank you.
it is hard to imagine you out in the middle of the desert
yeah,
in fatigues.
And it's sometimes when I meet another woman that just kind of looks like regular, I'm like, oh wow, you were in the military? And I can see why people you just have an image of something totally different.
Sure.
Same with men. So you have this image of what you think, and then you're like, nope, it's just everyday people.
Nice.
So
Okay. All right. Question 4. What is your favorite curse word, and in what phrase would you be most likely to use it? My favorite question.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would have to say, what is my favorite curse word? I try not to swear,
Okay.
especially being a mom. I try not to say anything. But I guess I would, if I had to swear, I'd have to say, often, oh shit comes up a lot, during the day. So I'd have to go with that.
Oh shit. So to answer the 2 parts of the question, the favorite curse word is shit, and the phrase most likely is oh shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. And finally, question 5. If the world ended right after this video, what final message would you want to convey to your fans?
My final message would be, you didn't know that, the end of the world is coming, so live it every day like it is your last, because you never know when that will happen.
Nice.
And thank you for enjoying my books. Of course.
And buy Book Wars.
And buy Book Wars, please. You'll like it, your kids will like it.
Perfect.
So.
Well, I can't think of any better way to wrap up this video. I want to thank Sarah Taylor for being my guest, my very first guest on season 2 of Tell Me About Your Damn Book. The book is Book Wars. It's available Amazon.com.
Amazon.com, yes.
Okay, so grab yourself a copy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.